proton densitometry device was flown in the back of a C-130 U.S. Air Force transport plane in the dead of night. He was put into this, and it was determined that his spine had crumbled to the extent that he had to be 1.6759 years of age, 126.1795 years of age. So with that reassurance, Jimbo now introduces the senator, and the senator introduces this 126-year-old man, Vern Farnham. He wants to pull out his lifestyle, so it begins by saying, "What is it that you do first thing in the morning?"
Oh, wow.
He says, "Well, Senator, I don't do anything first thing in the morning because I'm still in bed. I usually roll out of bed about noon. I have a dozen grade A eggs, and I have a half a pound of bacon, wash it down with a quart of vodka." So with this, our senator is starting to drip with sweat, and he goes, "What is it you do in the afternoon?" He says, "Well, Senator, I mosey on down to the Golden Arches, and I have an 18-pack of chicken McNuggets. I have a large fry. Instead of the large fries are the ones with red cartons." Senator goes, "I know that." And then he goes, "And I wash that down with a quart of Jack Daniels, but not because I'm an alcoholic. It's because my throat gets so sore and dry and patched every afternoon from that patent Marlboro cigarettes."
Oh my
So with
God.
this, the senator is just distraught. Jimbo's trying to pull him off the stage. Sure, he's screaming, "What do we have this guy in for?" So finally he says, "Will you tell the audience just exactly how old you are?" And he goes, "Certainly, Senator. I'm 21. So the lesson behind this painfully long parable is a very important public health lesson, and what we're going to concentrate on today, and that is that it's misuse, disuse, and abuse, which causes us to age far harder and faster than any known biological process. Now, worldwide, we are caught up in the biggest, most serious epidemic in world history. When you look at the obesity and diabetes, basically spawned by what we eat worldwide, it is killing more people and causing more disease than any epidemic we've ever had. In the United States, 67% of us are overweight to obese. When Europeans come here, they now refer to some of us as the balloon people. You go to the theme parks in Florida, and it's unbelievable. And these are unfortunate people that I reach out to and give a bag of Mila. But nonetheless, it's a terrible tragedy. And as you look around the world at the Maori in New Zealand, the Malaysians, the Africans, the Berbers in North Africa, and even here in the United States, you have traditional peoples who have suffered the worst. As an example, in the United States, the Pima Indians, at age 35, 90% of them are severely overweight, and by severely overweight, we mean that they are 100 pounds overweight. 50% of them already have type 2 diabetes, and it is so severe that children actually believe that diabetes is treated by cutting off their limbs. There are that many amputations.
Oh my God.
Now, I visited a population of Pima Indians in Arizona, and they had put on a flour, fat diet. And with this, they became enormous. They didn't eat any more than the Caucasian children in the schools, but they gained tremendous amounts of weight because of what we call the thrifty gene, a gene that basically could suck calories out of a stone. So the question is, if there's a change in diet that caused them to become so overweight and have so much diabetes, would you change back? I went into the Sierra Madre Mountains of Mexico with a CBS News unit. We found a population of Pima who were still on the traditional diet. They were rail-fed. They lived to the age of 106. Then I came here to the island of Oahu. A great friend of mine named Terry Shintani, who teaches here at the University of Hawaii, came out here, and the native Hawaiians on the western part of Oahu actually have the worst health care statistics of any population anywhere across the United States. We focused on a man for our broadcast. His name was Big Ed. He was 425 pounds. He had a blood sugar that went up to 800. He took 80 units of insulin a day. He had a cholesterol of nearly 300, and he took a hefty garbage bag full of medications on an every 3-month basis. So what Terry did was a very interesting thing. He didn't wag his finger and say, "Don't go to McDonald's, don't go to Kentucky Fried Chicken." He said, "Look at who you were 100 years ago. Those native Hawaiians, you were tall, lean, strong, Olympic-looking people with washboard abdomens. And he had pictures right out here in Waikiki, native Hawaiians with the big 70-pound surfboards. He said, I want you to change your diet because it's part of your culture and it's part of your spiritual values." So with Big Ed, he said, take Taro as an example, which is a stillborn child of father and daughter Earth. So he ate these foods because they were part of his culture, part of who he was spiritually. With this, he lost 150 pounds. His blood sugar came to normal. He had to stop taking insulin, and his cholesterol came back down to normal. So this is proof positive that the traditional foods are the most powerful medicine in the world in terms of decreasing the incidence of obesity and diabetes. And we know that from our own weight loss trial. For those of you who were at our meeting in Orlando, you saw, for instance, Rachel Garcia, who herself described her thighs as big as her head when she started. We had a group of women, all of whom had had 2 or more children, and they were professional dieters. They tried everything. They couldn't get the weight off. Yet with Mila, they were losing a pound a day. Now, why is it that Mila is the healthiest of all whole foods? If you look at the Aztecs, you look at what happened 35,000 years ago in the United States. You had these hunter-gatherer bands that came over from Asia. They survived for 35,000 years. 35,000 years against incredible cold and heat and desert and Arctic and whatnot, fighting against other bands of hunter-gatherers, surviving all kinds of ferocious animals. They become the fittest of the fittest of the fit. And the very fittest, the Aztecs. Because as all these tribes converged on what we call the Valley of Mexico, it was the Aztecs that won. Now, as you looked across all of America, north and south, most people could barely drag themselves through the day. But the Aztecs built the biggest, most impressive empire on earth at the time. Their cities made cities in Spain look like they weren't squalor. They had incredible finery and palaces and foods. They did tremendous amounts of work, and they thought, why? Because they had the nutritional base. Now, the Valley of Mexico was the most perfect place on earth for foods to develop. Why? First of all, you had these hunter-gatherer packs that came all across North and South America to converge on this point. They had very sophisticated horticulturists. They had all their crops they brought in. And it was the most perfect place on earth to grow crops. You had terraces at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,000 feet. You had varying degrees of sun and rain and cloud cover. You had the most perfect soil. Soil that actually was embellished by the volcanic ash that had minerals and vitamins in it. And out of this developed the most perfect food of all time, Mila. Now, what I want to do today is I want to describe just 2 scientific phenomena. And I've really drawn these out, so I really want to make sure you get this, and I'm going to quiz you. They are glucose load and inflammation. And it really explains why Mila is just that good in terms of weight loss and in terms of all of the disease phenomena that you see. So first of all, glucose load. You don't know what that is, I'm going to explain it to you, but it's the #1 risk factor for women in terms of obesity and diabetes. Glycemic index. Who can tell me what glycemic index is? Who knows? Glycemic index? Any hands? Yes, right here. What is it?
Not exactly sure, but I do know a lot of diets are kind of based on that. So starches and everything, it's like how long it lasts in your body. Is that kind of...
Good. So basically what happens is if I take Coca-Cola, my blood sugar goes and it drops. If I take a mashed potato, my blood sugar goes up and it comes down. So it's a rating scale. So in essence, if I take an instant mashed potato on a scale that goes from 0 to 100, just like all the exams you had in school, instant mashed potatoes are 120. Mila is 1. There's only a single thing you remember for today. Remember that in terms of this glycemic index, Mila is 1. Pasta, 60. Coca-Cola, 75. White bread, 100. It's only 1.
Wow.
The next point is the problem with the glucose load. It's a tremendous actual load on your system. Tremendous. Imagine someone going up Mount Everest with a little day pack. Now imagine them going up Mount Everest carrying the kitchen sink, a stove, and all their furniture on their back. This is what happens to your system. As you load it up with glucose, it's straining. Your blood sugar is going up. It's trying every which way to get rid of that blood sugar, because eventually it will be dangerous. It will put you in a coma. So it says, let's store it as fat. Let's make more and more insulin. And of course, this makes you sicker and sicker. Now here's the key point. Most of us as dieters, most of us trying to lose weight, go, oh, well, high glycemic index. I don't have